印はつけた。
Can you like teleport with that? Dude, he's smooth, man.
Kakashi.
Obito! Oh, dude. Man, no wonder Obito is so important to Kakashi. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. We are getting back into Shippuden today, episodes 119 and 120. Hope y'all are doing well. It's almost the weekend here, and I am finishing up my last day of work before I go out for a week of PTO. I'm going to the beach, man. That's my my favorite vacation spot. Just going to the beach, having a big beach house, and be able to walk back and forth. So ideal. Feel like I'm like at my I don't know, my healthiest or most carefree at the beach, you know, like for example, I've been trying to get back into reading. I used to love reading growing up, and I feel like just with smartphones and just having so much stimulus around all the time, it's just like I'm never motivated to read. But when I'm at the beach or just outside in general, it's like so much easier for me to focus on like reading. So I'm excited to just dig into some books and you know, relax, maybe ride a few waves. You know, the beach I'm going to has, I mean, it depends. Usually it's pretty big waves, but I always like just getting tousled around by some waves. Maybe I'm a little weird in that way, but I think it's fun. But yeah, let's go ahead and recap the character ratings from last time. We gave MVP and best moment to Kimimaro. Good seeing him again. Yeah, back in classic Naruto, I really liked his character. For the short term we did get him. But it's cool just having a connection to Jugo and seeing how he was really kind to Jugo. And then for the funniest moment, we gave that to Jiraiya and kind of Naruto, just their banner together and getting completely distracted from what's really at hand here. They're so funny together, man. And then we skipped over the Sako, so nothing there. But yeah, we'll see where this is going from here. You know, Sasuke's got his crew together. I'm very curious on how quickly this is going to pick up. Like, are they going to encounter Itachi pretty early on here, or is it going to be kind of like an extended kind of journey to get to the Akatsuki to take on Itachi? I'm honestly really surprised this kind of happened at this point in Shippuden already, but boy am I excited. It's you know, the whole Itachi Sasuke kind of dynamic and the backstory of the Chakra is still probably the most like intriguing part of the show, outside of maybe like, you know, how Naruto you know, maybe Naruto's backstory, right? Like knowing more about who his parents were, or, you know, maybe his connection to the fourth Hokage, stuff like that. So, but yeah, y'all, if you enjoy these reactions, do me a favor, hit that like button or subscribe to follow on for more. We also are 4 weeks ahead on Patreon if any of y'all are interested in joining that community. Would love to have you there. But yeah, appreciate y'all being here to watch with me. Let's go and get into it. Oh, also, my poor Naruto sweatshirt's peeling apart, man. It's no good. My sister got this for me for Christmas last year, and it was from Walmart, so it was like really cheap. But now I feel like I gotta get a new one. Maybe I gotta get a Shippuden one or something. I don't know. Maybe I gotta get like a headband and all that stuff. You know, I always see people on YouTube with the like leaf headband and stuff. Pretty dope. Anyways, let's get into it. Who's this? He's got some sick goggles, bro. Yo. How long ago is this? Dude. Is that the fourth? I feel like I've heard Obito before.
先生は素直すぎです。だいたいいつもそう帯との前に困った人がいるわけないでしょうよ。ルールや掟を破るやつは忍びとしてクズ呼ばわりされる。どうでしょう？てめえは心の優しさってもんがねえのか。いつもルールだ掟だってうっせんだよ。
Rules are loose.
まあ、二人ともやめなよ。同じチームなんだからさ。
She looks kind of familiar too. I feel like we got some of this in classic Naruto, like at the funeral site or something after Sarutobi died.
今日からカカシは俺と同じ常任に就任し
Oh, dope.
そこで任務は効率を考えて俺とカカシ班で分かれてやることにするから、何せコノハも今や未曾有の戦力不足だからね。
分かれてやるっちゃ。
うん、そうだね。
Dude, this is crazy seeing the fourth.
ビトとリンで3マンするね。で、俺は一人。
この前ちゃんと話したでしょ、オビト。カカシにプレゼントあげようって。
悪い、聞いてなかった。
They seem to have an interesting relationship.
口中区内だよ。少し重くていびつだけど慣れると使いやすいよ。
どうも。
私はこれ、個人用特別医療パック。全部使いやすいように改良してあるからさ。
サンキュー。
なんだよ、そのキャラ。
I love Kakashi's side. Oh, I just realized this is before he had got Sharingan.
ってろくなもんじゃないでしょ。
I was wondering, he looked a little different outside of him just being younger.
なんでお前が常任なんかになれたのかが不思議だ。
お前に言われたくはないよ。
Oh, he's got the Uchiha symbol too. Okay. Dude, I'm like giddy right now.
俺のこのシャリンガンが開眼したらな。
ウチハ一族ってのはみんなエリートなんでしょ。そんなもんに頼んなくたってすごいはずなのにな。
何？
Man. I'm kind of getting nervous that Obito has something to do with Kakashi's Sharingan.
このラインだよ。今土の国が草隠れの里を侵略侵攻してきているラインね。もちろん敵は岩隠れの忍び。敵の前線にはすでに1000の忍びがいる。
Jeez. 1000.
この前よりさらに前進してる。
木の国も草隠れと陸続きなのに待ったをかけたのは遅すぎでしょ。
これだけの進撃を見せてるってことは、後方の支援がスムーズに働いてるってことですね。
そこで今回の任務、こうカンナビ卿ね。最前線では敵を叩くのにたくさんの忍びが必要になるよね。だから俺たち妨害工作をする忍びは少数精鋭でやるしかないんだ。
橋ですか。ということは潜入ミッションですね。
うん、カカシ隊、君たちの任務は
This is the OG Team Kakashi.
物資補給に使われているこの橋を破壊し、敵の支援機能を分断。その後速やかに離脱すること。
はい。先生は？
俺は前線で直接敵を叩く。君たちの陽動にもなるから。
I want to see him in action, bro.
国境までは一緒に同行するけど、そこから別れてミッションスタートだよ。
はい。
Holy, those are some big shrooms. Huge shroomies.
ナイスだよ、カカシ。
気づかれたか。大した奴らだ。あいつはピア。まさかそんなはず。
Have we ever gotten his actual name before?
様子見だ。
I think we've always just referred to him as the fourth, if I remember.
気をつけなね、みんな。敵は20はいる。おそらく影分身の術だけどね。
みたいですね。先生、俺が突っ込みます。援護してください。
焦っちゃダメだ、カカシ。やっぱり君がバックアップしなさい。
先生、今日は俺が隊長でしょ。ちょうど開発中の真実を
Yo.
来やがるな。
千鳥。なんだこの術。
Damn, I'm getting chills. So cool seeing Kakashi at this point.
敵がいてもこの術なら一瞬でやれます。先生の通り名と同じですよ。それに先生、あなたが言ったんです。今隊長は俺です。チームは隊長命令に従うのがルールでしょ。先生。
Always following rules. And got the backup.
全員の居場所を確認させてもらったよ。行くぞ。
Dude, he's so fast.
くそ、影分身か。じゃあ次だ。
油断しない。
Obito seems a little bit, like, not a coward, just scared though.
図に乗るな小僧。
Jeez, dude.
ギリギリ悪ガキにカウンターは合わせられたが、あの金髪野郎の動きは。
印はつけた。
Can you like teleport with that? Dude, he's smooth, man. Yeah, transportation.
お前が
Yellow Flash.
俺たち岩隠れの里じゃ。そいつを見たらとにかく逃げろと上官から教わったが、その意味がやっと分かったぜ。
Cutthroat, dude. I mean, they're at war, right?
の怪我も軽くはないし、ひとまずここから交代して陣を取るからね。
大丈夫です。
何が大丈夫だ。お前が勝手に先生の言ってることも聞かず無茶するからだろ。
お前なんかに言われたくないんだよ。さっき腰抜かして泣いてたウチハのエリートなんかにはな。
Yeah.
あれは
Dude, Kakashi's his demeanor's quite a bit different when he was younger.
忍びは涙を見せるべからずっていう掟。
二人ともやめなよ。
いい加減にしなさい、二人とも。カカシ、確かにルールや掟は大切だが、それだけが全てじゃないよ。教えたろ。状況に応じて臨機応変に対処しなきゃならない時もある。
Gotta be flexible.
もう君だよ。ゴーグルしてるのに目にゴミが入るわけないよね。自制心を口にするなら口だけじゃなく心も強く持たないと。それともう一つ、カカシ、さっきのあの術はもう使わない方がいい。見たところ一点集中型の突き。確かに破壊力とスピードはあるけど、自分自身の移動スピードが速すぎて相手のカウンターを見切ることができない。不完全な術だからね。別れる前にもう一度だけ言っておくね。
Man.
君にとって何より大切なのは
Yellow Flash. Speaking facts right now, bro. This is all making me very curious, like, to go back to the Land of Waves arc and, like, feel like Kakashi talked a lot about rules versus protecting your comrades and stuff.
どうしたの？
俺だってチームワークが大切だって分かってんだ。カカシのやつがいつも俺のことだらしないってバカにするから。あ、いや、俺はエリートと呼ばれる内派一族に生まれたのに落ちこぼれだし、カカシがすごいやつだってのは認めるけど。
カカシは木の葉の白い牙と恐れられた天才忍者。
The White Fang, yeah.
その親父さんの前では伝説の三人のナスラ霞むほどだった。
Wow.
そんな天才のもとで幼少期を過ごしたんだから、君たちを見てより物足りなく感じるのも無理ないのかもね。
白い牙、そういえば俺も聞いたことがある。里を守り殉職した英雄だって。カカシのやつ一言もそんなこと。
里の誰もが、もちろんカカシも尊敬する素晴らしい人だった。あの事件が起きるまでは。
事件、
こんなことを勝手に話しちゃいけない。
What if it's gonna have to do something with Chiyu?
カカシと同じ班の君には知っておいてほしいんだ。
何があったの？
カカシの父佐久間さんは中傷されてご自分で自分の
What? Jeez, dude.
ある極秘任務で隊長として敵地に潜入した彼は、そこで二択を迫られた。任務遂行か仲間の命か。もちろん里の掟に従えば任務放棄はご法度だが、彼は仲間の命を救うため任務を中断したんだ。しかしそのことで大きな損失を出した火の国や里の仲間は彼を責めた。あげ
Damn, man.
助けた仲間たちでさえ彼を中傷したんだ。
Dude, what the fuck?
それが元で心も体も悪くした佐久間さんは自ら
Yeah, piece of shit, dude. Dude, and Kakashi found his fucking body. Oh, bro.
それ以来親父さんのことを口にしなくなり、
Damn.
掟やルールを守ることに固執し始めた。
Makes sense.
オビト、少しでもいい、分かってあげてね。カカシにも悪気があるわけじゃないんだ。
Yeah, he's just taking what he's learned from that awful pain of losing his dad in that way and trying to apply it to himself and Obito.
くなってる。でもあまり無理すると傷口開いちゃうよ。
I wonder how old Kakashi's supposed to be here. He sounds so young, even though he's a Jonin already.
ここからは二手に分かれる。みんな頑張るんだよ。昨日の敵はたまたま単独で偵察中だっただけで、これからはチーム戦になる。気をつけて。
さっさと行こうぜ隊長さんよ。
よし、行くよ。
はい、
3。
Dude, this is insane right now. This whole backstory, I'm loving it.
おい、真昼のやつ偵察に行ったっきり戻らねえけどよ。やもやあんなガキどもにやられたんじゃねえだろうな。だったら聞いてみるさ。民法迷彩学で
カトン豪華級の術。
Nice. Okay, Obito. Still got that fireball jutsu.
こいつを預からせてもらおう。
Oh, God.
待て。畜生。
オビト、奴らを追うな。
なんだと？お前今何言ってん？自分で分かってんのか？
ああ、二人でこのまま任務を続行する。
リンはどうすんだよ。
リンは後回しだ。敵はこっちの作戦を知りたがってる。すぐに殺されることはない。それに運よくリンは医療忍者だ。捕虜になっても手厚く扱われるだろう。敵の負傷者を治療する条件でな。
Yeah, that makes sense.
こっちの作戦が知れることだ。情報が漏れれば奴らはすぐに橋に警戒態勢を敷くだ。そうなれば任務はより困難に。
お前の言うリンの無事っての想像の範疇じゃねえか。さっきの奴らが考えなしの下っ端だったら一体どうすんだよ。今は任務のことよりリンを助ける方が優先だ。
Already at conflict with what we were just talking about.
仲間を犠牲にしてでも任務の遂行が絶対だ。それが起きてた。この任務が失敗すれば戦争は長引き、より多くの犠牲が出るかもしれないんだぞ。
そんなの家庭の話。
Man, such a moral dilemma, man.
今まで生死を共にしてきた仲間を簡単に切り捨てられるっていうのか。俺やお前が傷ついた時、リンはいつも医療忍術で命を救ってくれた。あいつがいなければ俺もお前もとっくに死んでたんだぞ。
これがリンの任務でもあった。
やっぱりお前は嫌いだ。
嫌いでも何でもいい。隊長は俺だ。俺の指示に従ってもらう。どんな状況下でもファンがバラバラにならないように決定は一人が下す。だから範囲は隊長の指示に従うよう掟で決められてるんだ。
It's all by the book.
オビト、お前には力がない。だから俺がこの班の隊長なんだ。
だったらなんでリンを助けようとしない。お前には仲間を助けられるだけの力があるってことだろうが。
時の感情に流され大切な任務を失敗すれば後々後悔することになる。だからこそ忍びには感情を殺すための掟が定め。
Yeah, man, he's a clear cut and dry shinobi here. Almost reminds me of Zabuza and Haku a little bit.
医療パックをプレゼントしたんだ。内側にお守りを縫い付けて。
医療パックや医療忍術は任務成功率を上げるためにこの葉隠れによって考案された素晴らしいシステムだ。だけど昨日お前にも言ったろ、余計なものをもらっても荷物になるってな。
余計なもの。
忍びに必要なのは任務に役立つ道具だ。感情なんてものは余計なものなんだよ。
Yeah, that goes against the will of fire, man. Emotions are part of that shit.
本気で言ってんのか。お前は本気でそう思ってんのか。
Oh, he's got his dad's blade. Yeah.
ああ、そうだ。
Yeah, that's definitely from what he went through with his dad's experience.
俺はリンを助けに行く。
お前は何も分かっちゃいない。掟を破ったやつがどうなるか。
It's a risk you gotta be willing to take.
牙を本当の英雄だと思ってる。
Damn.
確かに忍びの世界でルールや掟を破るやつはクズ呼ばわりされるけどな、仲間を大切にしないやつはそれ以上のクズだ。
That's what he said to
俺は掟を破る。
Naruto and Sasuke and all them, right?
忍びじゃないってんなら忍びなんてこの俺がぶっ潰してやる。
Man, this makes me want to go back to classic Naruto so bad. So good, dude. I need to go back through some of that and just like read it carefully. That was so good. Dude, it's kind of wild just seeing the big war setting here. I think they call them the Great Wars, right? Dude. Yeah, it seems like everyone's military was so much bigger too at this time.
皆さんこの区内を一斉に敵側へ投げつけてください。あとは私一人でやります。
そんな無茶な。いくらなんでも
黙って言う通りにしろ。これから木の葉の黄色い閃光の戦いが見られるぜ。
Yeah, Yellow Flash.
見逃すなよ。
I wonder just how powerful he was at this time, like compared to like other villages, like Kages and stuff.
だいぶ良くなってる。でもあんまり無理すると傷口開いちゃうよ。
俺やお前が傷ついた時、リンはいつも医療忍術で命を救ってくれたんだぞ。あいつがいなけりゃ俺もお前もとっくに死んでたんだぞ。任務のことよりリンを助ける方が優先だ。
確かにルールや掟は大切だが、それだけが全てじゃないよ。教えたろ。状況に応じて臨機応変に対処しなきゃならない時もある。
俺は白い牙を本当の英雄だと思ってる。
Man, that's the best thing Obito could have said to him at that time.
ルールや掟、
Even though he's so upset with him.
仲間を大切にしない奴はそれ以上のクズだ。見つけたぞ。落ち着け。俺にだってできる。
Did he just give himself away with that? No.
俺が片付けてくる。その間にお前は現術を続けて情報を聞き出しておけ。迷彩学連の術。
よし、行くぞ。
どこへだ。
Oh shit, dude. I was confused who actually got stabbed there. Kakashi coming in clutch.
カカシ、お前どうして？
ま、お前みたいな泣き虫忍者一人に任せておけないでしょ。
カカシ。
悪銀の神にその発光のチャクラとはまさかお前。
Just about.
形見だ。忍びに必要なのは任務に役立つ道具だ。感情なんてのは余計なものなんだよ。
カカシ、お前。
Yeah, he's leaning to some of those emotions.
白い牙のガキかならビビる必要はねえな。
I wouldn't say that.
やっぱりな。匂いは完全に消されてる。かすかな空気の流れや物音で敵の位置を判断するしかないぞ。
This would be a good time to have Sharingan.
オビト、後ろだ。
Oh, is that how he?
カカシ。
Dang, that's how he got his scar.
おいカカシ、大丈夫か？
Man, dude, this camouflage shit's crazy.
用心に越したことはねえ。じっくり行くか。
敵のやつやり手だよ。俺の血の匂いのついたクナイはちゃんと捨ててやがる。また目にゴミでも入ったのかよ。忍びがなくなってのまだ死んだわけじゃない。
Such a gnarly scratch.
だよ。
ゴーグルしてるのに目にゴミが入るわけない。自制心を口にするなら口だけじゃなく心も強く持たないと。
俺はいつも口先だけでみんなに助けられてるばっかだ。
Man, I can empathize with Obito.
けど
Has good intentions, but it's hard to actually follow through on your emotions.
仲間を大切にしない奴はそれ以上のクズだ。あの言葉だけは口先だけにしたくはない。
Come on, Obito, let's see ya. Clutch up here. Yo, the Sharingan, let's go!
なぜだ。逃げるわけはない。
オビト、お前。
Is this the first time he used it?
なんだその目を。
Get wrecked, boy.
俺が守る。
オビト、お前その目。
ああ、これが車輪。
Okay, yeah, it's definitely his first time.
チャクラの動きや流れが目に見える。大丈夫かカカシ？
どうやら左目はもうダメそうだが、リンからもらったこれがある。応急処置ならすぐできる。すぐにリンを助けに行くぞ。
Damn, she's looking rough.
どういうやつだ。
That's the Kakashi I know.
いつもだらしね。
All bandaged up with one eye.
リンのチャクラの流れが荒れてる。俺はお前のチャクラの動きと違うぞ。
おそらく現実にかけられてる。すぐにでも情報を聞き出そうとしたんだ。
どうやらただのガキどもじゃないようだ。
一度手合わせしたがかなりの早技だ。気をつけろ。
おう。
Oh, dude. Jeez. Yeah, crazy fast. Dude, Obito with the Sharingan is clutch, man. So dope.
カシ、オビト。
助けに来たぞリン。もう大丈夫だ。
よし、あとはさっさと退散だ。
なるほど。いいコンビネーションだったが、所詮ガキだな。今お前らのいるのは敵の手の中だぜ。ドトン、岩宿崩し。やばい、出口に走れ。
Oh. Oh no. Don't tell me that's how Obito died, dude.
せっかくの情報源だったが、あ、仕方ねえか。
大丈夫かリン、カカシ。
Oh, dude. Man, no wonder Obito is so important to Kakashi.
いいんだカカシ。俺はもう
Man, he just got his freaking Sharingan too.
体の右側はほとんど潰れちまって感覚すら。
くそ。いや、そんなどうして。オビト。
畜生！畜生！俺が
俺が初めからお前の言う通り一緒に D を助けに来てたらこんなことにはならなかったんだ。
You don't know that.
何が隊長だ、何が常人だ。
そういや忘れてたぜ。俺だけお前にジョニー祝いのプレゼントやってなかったな。カカシ、何がいいか考
I
え
mean, just saved his life, basically, right? A couple times now.
思いついたんだ。ねえ、安心しろ。役に立たない余計なもんじゃない。この
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
やるからよ。
Is that how he's on Mangekko's Sharingan too? Because, like,
里のやつらが
he pushed Kakashi the way and then he died in his place, kind of thing? Like, kind of a
常人だ。
loophole a little bit to having to kill your best friend?
俺の気持ちだ。受け取ってくれ。
Bro, that's insane.
リン、お前の医療忍術で俺の車輪ガンを眼軸ごとカカシの左目に。
Bro, that's insane. I never thought it would be from a friend that he got it.
始めるから。
俺はもう死ぬ。けど、お前の目に乗ってこれから先を見てやるからよ。
Yeah, he still lives through him today, man. That's so sick. This guy's about to get wrath.
しぶてえな、まだ生きてやがったか。がやっぱりガキだな。忍びが何泣いてやがる。気な泣き虫、蹴りつけてやるぜ。あのガキ、さっきと様子が少し違うな。
カカシ、リンを頼むぜ。ああ。
Let's go, Kakashi. Come on. Fuck this guy up. See it. Holding his hand till the end too, man.
慌てるなよ、リン。
They just had to do that to us, huh?
カカシ、リンを連れて早くここを離れろ。敵の援軍は来るぞ。
ビト、
いいから行け。
Oh, man.
ドトン、別の天将。
Fuck these Earth ninjas, boy.
リン、早く捕まれ。
Aw. Oh, it's heartbreaking, man.
カカシのやつとせっかく仲良くなれたのに、リンには結局
Oh.
できなかったな。みんなと。
Yeah, but you lived through Kakashi. Like, that was such a huge thing for Kakashi's being, you know? Like, I want to say character, but, like, he lives through Obito today and modern, like, where we are at in the show today. How do they get out of this? Is he just gonna pop off?
お前が完成させてくれた術だ。
ほうほう、こんな状況でまだ戦う意志を見せるとは。敵地後方までこそこそ潜り込んでくるだけはあるな。気が強い。
リン、こいつらは俺が仕留めする。その隙に逃げろ。
Yeah, look at the difference in his attitude.
頼まれたんだ。だからお前は死んでも守る。
This is the Kakashi we know, man.
リン、オビトはお前のことが好きだったんだ。大好きだった。大切だった。命がけで守ろうとした。
ならカカシ、私の気持ちだって。
俺は一度、お前を見捨てようとしたクズだ。
Interesting. Little love triangle going on.
行け、リン。俺は死んだのか。ここは
The yellow flash came in.
先生どうして
この区内の樹式は俺が軸
Oh,
目印なんだよ。
dude, the transportation technique, that is fucking strong, bro.
全員倒したよ。
リンはどこなんです
Okay, she's
間
alright
に合わ
too.
なくてすまなかった。
We definitely met Rin.
リンから聞いたよ。
I'm like I know I've been talking about this a lot, but I really need to go back and watch that episode now where I think him and Rin talk by, I don't know if it's Obito's grave or it was around the grave where the third Hokage was buried.
三次任海大戦その長きにわたる戦いは名もなき多くの忍びたちの犠牲によって終結した。そして同時に名だたる英雄たち語り継がれる伝説を残したのである。カンナビ教の戦い。その日この葉隠れに二人の車輪
Obito. Yep.
一人はその名を慰霊碑に刻み、一人は後にチャリンガンのカカシと呼ばれ他国にまでその有名を轟かせるのである。
Really beautiful, man. Well, that got me in my feels, y'all. That's for fucking sure. Oh, man. I love the importance of Obito to who Kakashi is as a person and a character now. Like, it just makes so much sense to who he is as a sensei, to Naruto and Sasuke and their struggles, and especially Sasuke's struggles. And, like, you know, him just believing in camaraderie so much and protecting his comrades. You know, he really embodies Obito to this day still. I love that. It's great, man. Love that backstory. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and talk about these awesome 2 episodes, man. Easily some of the best in Naruto as a whole. I think the thing I love about them so much is that just how much it expands or explains, conveys the way that Kakashi's character is. You know, this gave so much context to what his journey has been for his actions with the, you know, kind of like the big brother protector, provider kind of Kakashi that we have come to know and love throughout classic Naruto and into Shippuden. You know, specifically this dynamic between him and Obito. You know, we see back in this flashback as Kakashi has just become a Jonin. We don't know their age, but they seem to kind of be in between, you know, Naruto's age in classic Naruto to now. So, I don't know, maybe like 14 or 15 or something, if I had to guess. But, you know, we see just how different Kakashi is back then. He doesn't have the Sharingan. You know, he has both his eyes. He doesn't have one covered up at all. You know, he's a little black and white, very by the rule book. You know, he's completely followed in line with just the rules of, you know, what a shinobi should be in the Leaf Village. And it really reminds me a lot of classic Naruto, especially the whole Zabuza and Haku arc. We got the Land of Waves and the themes around shinobis being tools, you know, the lack of humanity, the lack of space for emotions. You know, Kakashi's character was that back in this flashback. It makes me really want to rewatch those, like that arc with Zabuza and Haku, and I want to look at Kakashi's reactions a bit more to that whole situation, considering that he went through a very dramatic growth in this flashback. And this very black and white and just all rationality around, you know, kind of just being logical about the mission and the rules of a shinobi very much conflicts with Obito, this character we get introduced to. And I think we've heard his name back in classic Naruto. You know, I think I mentioned in the reaction, I remember a scene with Kakashi going to visit Obito's grave after Sarutobi died. And I thought it was Rin at the time that went to him, but I think it was actually someone different. I don't think it was had the same kind of like face painting. So I don't know if we've actually met Rin before, but you know, we had gotten some glimpses or had heard of Obito's name before, and you could tell that Kakashi had made a lot of mistakes in his past. And I think he said that directly every time he visits that grave. He's like very upset with himself. And you know, we get to know Obito. He's an Uchiha. He's kind of the polar opposite of Kakashi at this time. He's very emotional, not rational. Very emotional. Reminds me of Naruto to a degree. He's kind of a black sheep. He's not as talented as Kakashi is. Like he hasn't unlocked his Sharingan at all. and he's very like almost like principled or very intuitive with his emotions, and so he can kind of like call out Kakashi on his BS to a degree, but then he can't back up his words. He can't channel this emotion into consistent action. And I can honestly relate to Obito. If I had to relate to one of them, it would probably be more so of Obito. And I don't know, I think it's interesting that they have such a dichotomy between these two characters. And we get a lot of context through Obito talking to the fourth Hokage. We'll talk more about that later, although he's not the fourth at the time. We don't get a name drop, but we get Yellow Flash. But, you know, Yellow Flash tells Obito about Kakashi's father. And really, you're going to get in the way? Come on, bud. And how Kakashi's father was very well respected. You know, he had like a very high name for himself, very respected in the Leaf Village. You know, they compared him to like 3 of like the great, you know, Leaf Shinobis. I wonder who those are. But yeah, he had all the credibility in the world, and he lost it in an instant when he chose to save his comrades, protect his comrades over the mission. And it did end up leading to, I think, a lot of loss of other lives. And so the village and even the comrades who he saved criticized him for it. And, you know, he quickly, you know, he was ostracized for that decision, and ultimately took his life because of it. How awful is that? One, for just Kakashi's father, that he went from being at the top to losing his credibility just like that and being at the bottom, to also just Kakashi finding his body. Like, that was awful. But you see how obviously that would affect Kakashi, seeing his father lose his life, lose who he was, lose his confidence, everything about who he was, due to not following the rules. So it makes a lot of sense. Kakashi's kind of operating through a really painful lesson he learned and views the world through that lens only. It's very difficult for him to have any flexibility in his thinking and viewing things from a different perspective like Obito's. And we see this expand once they actually go on their mission and Rin gets captured, and there's the real butting of heads here in this conflict with you know, Obito wanting to go rescue Rin and Kakashi wanting to go forward with the mission. And he's rationalizing the situation based off assumptions that these guys won't do anything to her. They're just gonna try to collect information. They won't kill her because she's a medical ninja. You know, the mission should come first. And Obito does not understand it, and they really butt heads in this situation. And while they're butting heads, Obito is like getting very emotional about this, and Kakashi kind of calls him out on his emotions, and once again references the rules of how a shinobi shouldn't have emotion. Like, emotion will deter your decision making and make bad decisions, and that very much relates to Zabuza and Haku and that whole theme of you know, shinobi being emotionless. It relates to Sai's character a bit too, and Danzo, and you know, it's just such a prevalent theme. And it's interesting because the Leaf Village, out of all the ones we met, seem to be the one who fight this the most, with like the will of fire and passing down legacy and all these things, which are a lot about emotion. It's a lot about connection to others and living through healthy emotion, right? Harnessing that for power in some degree, to make, you know, to empower you to sacrifice better. And I just love how Obito, in that moment, he's like, do you really believe that? And Kakashi kind of looks to the side, and you can see him hesitate, and he thinks back to his father. And his father has that sword that he passed down to Kakashi. And you can tell in that moment that Kakashi kind of does have some emotional attachment. You know, he's using his father's sword, and he might say that, you know, that's a tool that could be used, and they talk a lot about tools and stuff too. But you can kind of tell that he's keeping it more as a keepsake. It's for his father, like his remembrance of his father, more so than just a practical tool to use. You know, in that moment, I love how Obito really does what's important for Kakashi. He says something that he probably hasn't heard from anyone else, which is that he believes that White Fang was a hero. He doesn't look down at him for not following the mission's rules. He respects him for protecting his comrades, and you can see the shock in Kakashi's face in that moment. It really, I think, validates some of his other feelings that he probably had to put aside, or some beliefs he had to put aside because of this harsh lesson he had learned. And that, of course, expands to the whole saying that those who break the rules and regulations are regarded as scum, and Obito saying that those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. And that's such a good callback to, I think it's in, that bell training or test that we got very early on in classic Naruto. I don't remember the whole context, but I think Sakura or someone was talking about following the rules and all these things. And even in that moment, Kakashi takes what he's learned from this flashback with Obito, what he learned from Obito, and applies it to the future generation and calling them out. And that's what happens here. Obito literally says that to him after he calls his dad a hero, is that those who abandon them are worse than scum, challenging that belief system of Kakashi, made that fear to be viewed as scum, that fear to be discredited for who he is as a shinobi. And he's a successful shinobi. He's a jonin already. It seems like he's put in a lot of value and weight into his status as a shinobi versus his actual beliefs and morality as a person and a shinobi, right? I don't know. I think Obito's character is so important in this moment for Kakashi, and of course that extends to Kakashi actually following Obito and helping rescue Rin together. And ultimately, this leads to Obito saving Kakashi's life, sacrificing himself, Kakashi, really overcoming his own problem of not living through his words, right? Living through his beliefs. Obito had always struggled with harnessing those emotions and taking them into action. In this moment, and with him unlocking Sharingan, he followed what he believes. He put it into existence, into reality, right in front of Kakashi's face. He saved his comrade. He's not going to abandon them. He saved him, even though they've butted heads their whole life, it seems. And how beautiful is that, man? I love how important that is for Kakashi. Because if, let's say that, Obito didn't go back for him and Kakashi survived somehow, I don't think it would have impacted Kakashi quite as much. I don't think he would have found the full meaning in what it means to protect your comrades over the mission and think in a little bit of a more flexible way. And then, of course, Obito gifting Kakashi his Sharingan. I love the importance of that, because I think even though Kakashi could take a lot from Obito's sacrifice, part of Obito lives within Kakashi to this day. Obito is in him. His legacy lives through him, and I think that's a reminder to Kakashi every day of how he wants to be in the world and how he wants to protect those and those he loves. And I think it's just impacted him so much. Obito says, "I'll become your eye and see the future for you." I love that so much. It's like they're not apart still, even though Obito passed. Really beautiful stuff. And also, right after this, after they escape and Obito passes and they're surrounded by those stone village ninjas, Kakashi immediately says that line to Rin, was like, "I'll protect you with my life." And we've heard that too before. We heard that, I think, back when they were facing Zabuza and Sasuke is freaking out in front of a Jonin, and Kakashi tells him, "I'll protect you with my life." It explains so much of who Kakashi is as a person, why he is the way he is, and I just love that so much. Kakashi is definitely, I think, grown to be one of my favorite overall characters. I've always loved him as a character, but I think slowly over time I've appreciated who he is more and more, because he's just so important for all of the main characters that we know. He is such a guiding light for them, a great sensei, somebody who embodies, I think, the Leaf Village really well. Outside of that, I just want to talk about kind of how cool it is to get a flashback to a period where it's in one of the great wars, the Great Shinobi Wars. This is the third one, I guess. I'm not sure if this was the last one before present day. I think it might have been. It makes sense, timeline-wise, with everyone's ages and whatnot. But I just love seeing the context, seeing the war, right? So many shinobi at battle. It's something that we had heard of many times, alluded to, but it's very hard to conceptualize or visualize that as a watcher until you get to see what that looks like. You think of ninjas and they're all kind of, stealthy and doing infiltration missions. We've seen one-on-one battles, we've seen small kind of squad battles, but we've never seen something to this scale. And I think that's really cool, just kind of having, you know, nations at war. It's cool to see that in action, and some of the savagery that comes along with it. And also alongside of that, just seeing the fourth Hokage, and at the time, obviously not the fourth, Yellow Flash, and just how I love like his, I don't know, just the feel of him. You can tell he's a really good leader. He's really grounded. He's so strong. Like that teleportation technique is insane. You know, he sees the weaknesses of his, you know, of his, and they're not Gen at this point, but I guess his subordinates here with Obito kind of, you know, just talking the talk, but not walking the walk, and Kakashi being too rigid in his black and white thinking about rules, and you know, Kakashi with trying Chidori for the first time. That scene was so fucking sick, dude. But like, you know, talking about how he was going so fast that he couldn't perceive his enemy's counterattacks, and how it's an imperfect jutsu technique, and Obito empowers him later with Sharingan to perfect it. I love all those scenes. The fight scenes were sick. Just, I don't know, man. Like it's hard to describe just how bigger the world feels just from these 2 episodes alone. Even though they're very character focused, you get so much lore here, and it's so exciting. And of course, just seeing the fourth, you know, he just looks so much like freaking Naruto, man. Like the yellow hair, the blue eyes. There's some connection there. I know I've talked about this plenty of times on the channel, and I still have like no idea what it could be. Like we haven't gotten enough information for me to really expand my theories at all, but man, is it intriguing. It really is. The way that Sharingan was also passed to Kakashi was kind of interesting to me too, because, you know, it was a big question I had when it was revealed that Kakashi had unlocked his Mangekyo Sharingan back in the first arc of Shippuden. It was a little confusing to me because what we had been told is that you have to basically kill your best friend to unlock that. That's what Itachi had to do. That's what Sasuke was attempting to do with Naruto. But in this way, it kind of makes me wonder if this was always kind of unlocked to some degree because Obito sacrificed himself for Kakashi. If that kind of, in like a roundabout way, meant that, you know, Kakashi killed his best friend. And so by default, it unlocked that Sharingan, or that Mangekyo Sharingan or something. Maybe there'll be a bit more to that, I don't know, but it's just so interesting that the Sharingan was kind of given and passed down to Kakashi. You know, whenever I theorized about how he had gotten Sharingan, I kind of thought maybe someone went rogue, like I know Uchiha, and he had killed them and dissected it, right? Or like taken, you know, gotten the secrets of the body and implanted it in himself, or someone did it for him. But in this, it's just so much more meaningful, like that it's his friend who willingly passed it down to him. It just has so much more importance to it. All right, let's go in and get into character ratings. This one's gonna be a bit shorter because I don't think there's a funniest moment in Sacco. It's not really an individual character at all, so I'm gonna pass up on those. But for MVP and best moment, you gotta give it to Obito. I just love Obito's sacrifice, his growth in that moment to overcome, you know, his pain with, you know, having courage and resolve to live through his emotions and harness them and live by his word, and just how important that was for him to make a sacrifice for Kakashi and to change Kakashi's perception of the world, and to see how that impacted Kakashi immediately in that moment, and then obviously seeing who Kakashi has grown into and who we've known for since classic Naruto. I just think that's so impactful as a viewer to see who Kakashi is, like why he is the way he is. And I think this was such a great and brilliant backstory to do that. And for the best moment, I just really love when Obito says, "I'll become your eye and see the future for you." Like, to me, that's him passing down his legacy, and Obito still living through Kakashi in some way. You know, Kakashi is not just who he is in present day because of himself. It's because of his loved comrade, and a comrade who he butted heads with for years, it seems. You know, we're all an accumulation of the way that people inspire and impact us. You know, like none of us are just the way we are because of us by default. You know, we all have our nature to us by birthright, but you know, we're all impacted by those around us. And I just love how important Obito is for Kakashi. But yeah, y'all, I think that'll do for these episodes. Let me know what y'all thought about this one in the comments below. Let me know if I missed anything. Yeah, I would love to hear what y'all think of Kakashi and Obito's characters. I think they're extremely interesting in this flashback. Yeah, it's just so good, y'all. I'm really enjoying this arc so far. I mean, this is obviously a little detached from the whole Sasuke part of this arc, but just love that we got this context. It's just so enjoyable getting lore and characters developed in this way. I feel like when a show can do a flashback really well like this, it adds so much to characters in the world. Like, it's such a good way to expand characters a lot. So yeah, appreciate y'all being here to watch with me. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. If you did, drop a like, comment, all that good stuff. Hope you all have a really good rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.